Why didn't your grandparents have food allergies, eczema, or ADHD? But your kids do. Food allergies in kids have increased by 50% in just 14 years, and half of all kids and adults now live with a chronic health issue. So what's changed? Because while allergies, eczema, and ADHD are common, they're definitely not normal. And it's definitely not genetics, because our genes can't change that much that fast. But our environment has. Our food has, and our pace of life definitely has. In this episode, I'm breaking down the 10 biggest reasons our kids are getting sicker and what you can start doing today to turn it around. Welcome back, everyone. Did your grandparents have food allergies, eczema, or ADHD? Mine sure didn't. They ate whatever they wanted, dairy, soy, gluten, strawberries, and somehow they were fine. No rashes, no panic attacks, no one reacting to food. But my son did, to almost everything he ate. At one point, he was down to a list of 10 safe foods because everything else made him vomit and break out in full-body hives. My grandparents didn't have asthma or hay fever, but I did. And my other son did too. And they didn't battle chronic fatigue, depression, an autoimmune disease that required 8 rounds of steroids a day for years, but I did. So here we are, fast forward a few generations, and now every classroom has a no nuts rule. Cafes label every menu item for allergens, and almost every parent is affected in some way. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, food allergies in children have increased by almost 50% between 1997 and 2011. That's a 50% jump in just 14 years. Half our kids have eczema. Anxiety and ADHD are everywhere. 1 in 2 kids and adults now live with a chronic health issue. And cancer in young adults is rising faster than ever before. So what's changed? There's a quote I love by Dr. Oz. Your genes load the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger. Our genes can't change that much, that fast, but our environment, our food, and our pace of life have. So let's find out what's happening one by one. Number 1, let's start with one of the biggest shifts, the way we eat, and more specifically, the decline of traditional cooking and eating. Our grandparents cooked everything from scratch. Meals weren't complicated, but they were real. Soups, stews, casseroles, bone broths, fermented vegetables on the counter. They used every part of the animal, the bones, the organs, the fat. Nothing went to waste because they couldn't afford it. It really was nose to tail eating, and everything nourished the body in a way our modern food simply doesn't. Bone broth, for example, was a staple, rich in gelatin and collagen that naturally protect the gut lining. Organ meats like liver were prized for their iron, B vitamins, and minerals. Fermented foods full of probiotics like sauerkraut, pickles, and yogurt were gut health trends. That's just how food was stored back then, before fridges were common. Today, most of what we eat doesn't come from a pot or a pan, it comes from a packet. We've traded nutrient-dense food for convenience, and in that process, we've lost touch with the way food was meant to nourish us. The truth is, when we stopped cooking, we stopped healing and got sick. And this is good news, because this is something we can change. You don't need to live on a farm or churn butter to start healing. Even 1 pot of soup a week, 1 batch of homemade broth, or adding 1 fermented food back in can make a massive difference. And all these foods are so quick to make and taste absolutely delicious. That's why they're having a huge comeback. Next one, number 2. If there's one shift that's completely downgraded our health, it's the rise of processed foods. Our grandparents ate food that was seasonal, local, and alive. Bread had 4 ingredients: flour, water, salt, yeast. Food came from the garden or the local market. It spoiled quickly because it was real. Remember when you'd bite into an apple and it turned brown within minutes? That's how food is supposed to behave. It's alive. Now it doesn't change color and it's weird. It's not natural. Today, we eat food that can sit on shelves for months. It's sprayed, stabilized, bleached, and packaged with colors, flavors, and preservatives that keep it looking fresh long after the nutrients have disappeared. These chemicals extend shelf life, but shorten our health span, and it means our kids are overfed but completely undernourished. Food has also been genetically modified, and interestingly, GM crops hit widespread production in the US in 1994, just a few years before allergy rates began skyrocketing in 1997. Coincidence? Maybe, but it does make you stop and think. Studies show that many of these additives and preservatives can cause everything from rashes, digestive issues and breathing issues, to irritability and hyperactivity in kids. When food is loaded with chemicals from pesticides and preservatives, the body doesn't recognize it as food. But again, this is good news because we can change this. You don't have to have a massive overhaul. Just start making some smart upgrades. Replace flavored crisps and crackers like the barbecue chicken and cheese flavor with 20 artificial chemicals for simple salted ones. Swap boxed cereal for homemade granola. Trade bottled dressings for olive oil and lemon. These are small, simple upgrades, but trust me, over time they compound because every time you choose food that's made on a farm, not in a factory, you're boosting your gut health, reducing inflammation, and strengthening your immune system and mental well-being. And that's how healing begins. One real meal and one upgraded choice at a time. Okay, number 3. Our gut microbiome has changed significantly since our grandparents' generation. One of the biggest reasons we're seeing such a rise in chronic health issues, from allergies and eczema to anxiety and autoimmune conditions, is that in just 3 generations, we've managed to wipe out almost a third of our gut microbiome diversity. That diversity, the range of beneficial bacteria that once lived inside us, acted like a protective army. It trained our immune system, supported our nervous system, and balanced out our mental well-being. But over time, everything from pesticides and preservatives to toxins, and especially antibiotics, has wiped out bacteria that took all of human civilization to develop. Instead of a balanced microbiome, most of us now have what's called gut dysbiosis, which means too many harmful parasites, yeasts, and viruses have taken over the gut, and not enough good ones. That imbalance sets off a chain reaction of inflammation. Over time, that constant acidity starts damaging the gut lining, and we can develop a condition called leaky gut. That's where tiny microscopic gaps form in the gut wall, allowing food proteins, pathogens, and toxins to leach into the bloodstream, where they were never meant to be. The immune system doesn't recognize them, so it attacks 24/7, day after day, year after year, and that's when symptoms develop, one health issue after another, whether it's eczema, allergies, asthma, fatigue, anxiety, autoimmunity, you name it. I love this quote by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride because it sums things up perfectly. She says, "The gut, instead of being a source of nourishment for the body, becomes a source of toxicity." But here's what we can do. When we start to reduce toxins, improve our diet, and work with the body instead of against it, healing begins. We can rebalance the gut, calm inflammation, and we can even repair leaky gut. That's what makes your body so incredible. It's not fighting against you, it's fighting for you. It just needs your support. Reason number 4 is the hygiene trap. Our grandparents, as sweet and innocent as they might look, they got down and dirty regularly. They played outside, dug in the garden, grew veggies, drank from hoses, patted dogs and shared food, and scraped their knees. And that was all part of training their immune system. Today, we live in homes that are bleached, sprayed, sanitized, and disinfected, filled with thousands of chemicals. Kids grow up in environments that are now too clean, where their immune systems rarely get the chance to learn what's dangerous and what's harmless. The result? The immune system becomes confused and hypersensitive. It's undertrained and overburdened, constantly bombarded by environmental toxins, synthetic fragrances, cleaning products, and processed food additives. And when the body's detox pathways and immune defenses are already overwhelmed, even harmless things like pollen, peanuts, or eggs can start to trigger an inflammatory response. So yes, a little dirt, a few germs, and some sunshine aren't things to fear. They're actually part of the recipe for a strong, intelligent immune system. Now, this next one is big, and honestly, it's the one most people have no idea about. So reason number 5 is environmental toxins and the chemical overload. Actually, it's an ambush. That would be more the accurate word. Our grandparents weren't surrounded by the chemical soup we live in today. No pesticides sprayed on their food, no plastic packaging leaching hormone disruptors into everything they ate or drank. No synthetic fragrances, non-stick cookware, or chemical cleaners coating every surface of their homes. They cleaned with vinegar and soap. They drank from glass, not plastic. Their food wasn't sprayed with pesticides. Fast forward to now, the average person is exposed to, believe it or not, between 700 and 2,000 synthetic chemicals every single day, depending on lifestyle. In fact, the average woman alone is hit with over 500 chemicals before she even leaves the house, from her shampoo, perfume, and deodorant to her laundry detergent, food packaging, and cleaning sprays. And it doesn't stop there. We're literally eating and drinking plastic. Studies show that the average person now consumes around 5 grams of microplastics a week. That's about the size of a credit card. Through food, water, and even the air we breathe. Babies are now being born with over 200 chemicals detected in their umbilical cord. Things like flame retardants, BPA, and PFAs, which are forever chemicals that build up in our tissues and never leave. Now throw in antibiotics and dozens of vaccines before the age of 5, and it's no wonder our kids' immune systems are struggling to cope. Our bodies were never designed to process this kind of toxic load, let alone so young. It's not that your body's broken, it's completely overwhelmed. But again, here's the good news. Awareness changes everything. Once you see it, you can't not see it anymore. And you can start lightening the load. Choose low-tox cleaners, swap plastic for glass, avoid synthetic fragrances that mess with your nervous system, and buy organic if you can. Every small swap matters because these choices all add up. And as you reduce the toxic burden, you give your body back the energy to heal. And this awareness is the first step to reclaiming your health. Reason number 6. This next reason illustrates one of the biggest differences between generations, and that's the birthing experience and how we enter the world. Our grandparents were born naturally, often at home or in small local hospitals. They were breastfed, and their first exposure to bacteria came from the mother's microbiome, through the birth canal, skin-to-skin contact, and breast milk. That's how the gut microbiome is inoculated with beneficial bacteria, and that's how the immune system learns tolerance. Today, 1 in 3 babies is born via C-section. Many are given antibiotics during or after birth, and when breastfeeding is impossible, we turn to formula, which, while life-saving, in many cases doesn't carry the same living bacteria or immune compounds. So before a baby even takes their first bite of food, their gut microbiome may already be compromised, and that means their immune system is starting life confused and inflamed. Then we add reflux meds, baby Panadol, and repeated antibiotics for ear infections, and baby food pouches void of any real nutrients. And before long, that delicate gut ecosystem is wiped out. I'll be honest, there are many things I wish I did differently when conceiving and giving birth to my boys. I still have mum guilt from it, but I'm also incredibly grateful for the knowledge I have now, because it means I can make a huge difference. I cook more from scratch. I swap out toxic products. I think twice, maybe 3 times before medicating. And that's what I want you to take from this. When we know what impacts the gut, we can rebuild it. So please don't feel guilty hearing this. Your child isn't broken, and your choices moving forward are more powerful than you realize. Reason number 7, and I promise this isn't about controversy, it's about contrast. We're talking traditional remedies versus modern medicine. Our grandparents had a very different relationship with illness, and honestly, a much healthier one. When they got sick, they didn't rush to the doctor or reach for a prescription. A fever wasn't feared, it was part of healing. They'd rest, sip broth, use herbal remedies like echinacea or nettle, and let the body do what it was designed to do, recover. Their food was medicine, literally. Bone broth, soups, garlic, ginger, honey, and herbs were immune boosters before that term even existed. Fast forward to now, and big pharma is big business. Antibiotics are prescribed for almost every infection, even viral ones. Babies are given reflux medication without investigating the root cause. Antihistamines and painkillers at the first sign of discomfort. Modern medicine absolutely has its place. But when a medical system doesn't acknowledge nutrition, even though 95% of disease is diet and lifestyle driven, that comes at a very high cost. And this is exactly why I created my membership, She Thrives, because I saw how many mums were struggling and not getting the support to make the best choices for their kids. Inside the club, our naturopaths help mums understand what's really driving symptoms like eczema, allergies, and fatigue, and how to recover naturally. If that's something you'd love more guidance on, you can find all the details at shethrivesclub.com. Okay, on to reason number 8, and this one's uncomfortable. It's stress, screens, and disconnection. Let's unpack this. Our grandparents had stress, massive stress, wars, hardship, loss, uncertainty. But when the day ended, they stopped. They reconnected, they rested, their bodies had time to reset. Today, the stress never ends. It's literally 24/7. We live in a constant state of fight or flight, which is dangerous. Fight or flight is the body's natural survival response, designed to protect us from danger. When your brain senses a threat, it triggers your adrenal glands to release cortisol and adrenaline. The body thinks it's trying to save your life. Now, stress for short bursts is fine, but in our modern world, that level of stress rarely gets switched off. And for the first time in history, it's happening to our kids, even toddlers. This has to be a wake-up call because the stress and disconnection kids are experiencing are constant. The noise, the notifications, the scrolling, the gaming, the multitasking, the pressure to keep up. So our bodies are always stuck in survival mode, always alert, always on, and always producing stress hormones. But now we know this, we can do something about it. And it starts with some digital hygiene. Simple, powerful habits that tell the body it's safe to switch off. Here are some examples. Have screen-free meals and reconnect around real food. So me and my boys, we eat at the table during the week, and on the weekend, we'll enjoy dinner watching a movie together. And that works for us, and it feels special. Another one, turn Wi-Fi off at night to allow deeper sleep. That's such an easy one. Another one, create no screen zones before bed and keep digital devices out of the bedroom. And don't be afraid to let your kids get bored. Guaranteed they will annoy you, but it's good for them. When my boys were small, they had to play in their room for 30 minutes alone. No entertainment, no devices. The peace and quiet and even the boredom is good for their nervous system, and it gives them a chance to be creative. These aren't small changes. They literally rewire your child's nervous system, so it's worth persevering. Because when our kids feel safe, connected, and calm, they don't just start healing, they begin to thrive. Now on to reason number 9, and this one's close to my heart. It's our loss of connection to nature. Our grandparents didn't have the choice to stay inside and scroll and binge or game. They played on the original PlayStation, bikes, swing sets, and good old Mother Nature. They spent hours outdoors, climbing trees, walking to school, helping in the garden, and sunbathing without fear of the sun. Today, most kids spend less time outdoors than prison inmates. That's a real statistic. We swap sunlight for screens, dirt for disinfectant, and nature for Netflix, and we're paying the price. Vitamin D deficiency, once rare, is now linked to allergies, autoimmunity, depression, and weakened immunity. Our nervous systems are overstimulated but undernourished because nature regulates the immune system. It strengthens the gut microbiome, lowers cortisol, and resets the body's natural rhythms. You don't need another supplement to feel better. You need more parks, more sunshine, and more barefoot time. So here's your reminder. Kids should be spending at least 4 hours a day outside, moving, exploring, playing, and just touching the earth. And so should we. And finally, reason number 10, one that I never appreciated years ago, but now it's at the forefront of everything I do because it's that powerful and life-changing. And that is faith, spirituality, and consciousness. Our grandparents had something most of us have lost, faith. Whether it was church on Sundays, a belief in God, prayer, or a simple sense that life was guided by something bigger than ourselves, there was meaning, there was community, and there was connection to spirit. We've become a society that's disconnected, not just from nature and food, but from our creator, whatever that means to you. And when we lose that connection, life feels heavy, uncertain, scary, and lonely. We begin to believe life is happening to us, not for us. But when you genuinely believe in something higher, call it God, source, the universe, or simply love, things shift. You start to see the challenges as lessons, the setbacks as redirections, and pain as growth. It allows healing to happen, not just in the body, but in the mind and soul. Because here's the truth. You can eat perfectly, detox daily, take every supplement under the sun. But if you're disconnected from purpose, if you're living in fear, if you've lost that spiritual anchor, true healing will always feel just out of reach. So maybe this week, your medicine isn't another green juice or detox plan. Maybe it's sitting quietly in gratitude, praying, meditating, giving, or simply helping someone else without expecting anything in return. Because giving and being of service, that's the highest form of healing there is. And it's no coincidence that it's also the number one path to true happiness and fulfillment. And we've come now to the end of the episode. I know that was a lot. 10 huge reasons why our grandparents didn't face the health issues we do today. And maybe you're thinking, where do I even start? Here's the thing, you don't have to fix everything overnight. Healing isn't about doing more. It's actually about doing different. Every time you choose real food over processed, rest over rush, nature over screens, or faith over fear, you're changing the trajectory of your family's health. You're breaking generational patterns. You're showing your kids what healing really looks like. And the beautiful thing? The body wants to heal. It's designed to thrive. We're wired for it. You just have to remove what's blocking it and give it what it needs. Because food allergies, eczema, ADHD, they're not random modern epidemics. They're symptoms of a body and a world that's just out of balance. As your health coach, I want to leave you with one question. What are 3 simple upgrades you can make this week based on what you've learned today? Could it be swapping one packaged food for a whole food, reading before bed instead of scrolling, or spending 20 minutes outside each day? Whatever resonates with you, start there. Make it a habit and then add more. Because small changes create big ripple effects. And if you're ready to dig deeper into your family's gut health and truly understand how to come dis-ease, I'd love you to explore the Gut Health course. It's where I teach the exact steps I used to heal my own family naturally, simply, and with confidence. Just head to theguthealthcourse.com. If this episode resonated with you, follow the show and share it with another mum who's dealing with allergies, eczema, ADHD, or just feeling run down. The more we share, the more we empower each other. I am so grateful you tune in every single week, and I love reading your reviews. Please keep them coming. It really does mean the world to me. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining me on Heal Your Gut, Heal Your Life. If you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you're ready to start healing your gut, grab my free gut health guide and recipe book at sharonmselby.com. See you next week.